I know you're probably wondering why I've drawn this perfect circle. Well, that's because it's made out of fertile soil and it's a great place for trees. And one thing that trees really have trouble dealing with is fire. So our objective right now is to cover this entire ring in very, very flammable items. And already once time is released, a lot of trees start growing. But as much fun as it would be to make people eat trees, we need to give them a little bit of food. I hope they like flammable berry bushes. And then we need to decide on a few animals. Which one is the funniest to light on fire? You know what, I'm gonna go with a cow. I think they'll actually burn for the longest. And they're the biggest, therefore they should distribute the most fire. Because a well-fed fire is a happy fire. So welcome everyone to my world of perpetual burning. The idea being that if we place a few humans here, and down here, and over here, we can then start a small fire at the top of the ring and it will eventually go around the whole loop. And it will go around the loop again because the trees will grow back behind it, so it's literally just a world of perpetual burning. Now, naturally the empires that start building right here are going to be at a disadvantage. The fire's going to reach them the soonest. The guys down here, they have the best chance of surviving the longest. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with the fire, but they have a minute to figure it out. I can't help but notice the animals are a little bit attracted to the fire, so maybe we need a few chickens and quicker moving animals. That way they'll run into the fire and spread it around quicker. The fire is currently headed towards the ocean, so we need more of it. We're going to have a few lightning strikes. That's going to add a little bit more fire to this equation. And the fire is so big now that we can actually see it all the way zoomed out. And it looks like the people are well on the way to building great empires. They're slowly expanding and even building boats. They're making their way around the ring, slowly expanding, but I don't know if that's going to be to their benefit. Because that fire isn't going to stay up here forever. Especially considering we can actually turn the temperature up a little bit should we want to. And I think we're going to do just that. This increases the temperature, makes everything a little hotter and drier. On top of all that hilarity, we're about to move into the Age of Sun. This is a time of intense heat and brightness, where the sun blazes down on the world. Now we're getting somewhere. The cows have to run into the water to avoid the fire. All the trees died in the Age of Sun, so the fire is really spreading quickly. The world population is up to 75 people, so they're still doing alright. They are able to cope. Another fire has spontaneously broken out down here, but I'm going to go ahead and put this one out. We got to give the people a little bit of time to deal before this fire gets to them, because this fire is coming. I can slowly hear animals being set on fire. What is this thing? Inferno Aura. Okay, we now have animals literally made of fire. And you know what? That just suits this world even. Okay, I've got lots of fire creatures. A blaze protector? The people of this world are really doomed. The fire creatures have run ahead of the fire and are now battling the kingdoms. That was an unintended thing, but that's still pretty funny. Not only do they have to prepare for the giant wall of fire that's about to destroy their entire world, they've also got to fight off fire demons while they wait. This man's name is Sitchum. He is 35 years old, he is also on fire. But maybe if they burn for long enough ahead of time, they'll actually be fireproof by the time the fire gets there. Another fire has broken out down below. I'm actually just going to let that one roll. We might as well. The Age of Sun's going to have enough heat that we're just going to have fires everywhere. As long as we have the main one going. And here we actually have fires in behind the fires because the grass grows back, but then that also lights on fire. Ironically, this is one of my most successful worlds. It's already up to a population of 205. The people are constantly running ahead trying to fight the fire demons. Here goes one now, but he's running straight into the fire because he's highly intelligent. He's now literally on fire and he's now deceased. The demons show no mercy to anything. They're now fighting a horde of chickens, who they're probably going to defeat. On the low end, the fire has entered Great Adichie, so we'll see if they're able to put the fire out or not. And up top, the fire is getting close to the borders of Great Soof, and on the other side, it's also getting close to these guys, who were somehow already on fire. They screwed up so badly the fire didn't have to reach them for them to burn. So needless to say, these guys probably aren't going to fare very well in this world. These guys are actually coping with the fire somehow. I think he actually has buckets of water. These guys might be smart enough to put it out. Yeah, they're literally carrying buckets of water. They're smart enough to put the fire out, so these guys get it. These guys might not have invented buckets yet. They're a little bit on fire. These guys also have buckets. They're actually putting the fire out. It's spreading quickly because it's a very hot, dry world, but they're doing their best to defend it. If they can stop the fire, that might also stop the fire demons. The strong will survive, the weak will burn to death in a horrible, horrible fate. But I feel a little bad that I forgot to give them ore, so I'm going to give them a little bit of this stuff. It's not flammable. I don't think they can go on it, but I think they can mine stuff from it. I'm also going to put some ore down here in the flammable spots. Again, they can figure out how to get there themselves. They got to walk through the fire if they want it. They are smart enough to jump into water. As soon as they light on fire, they dive right into that ocean. I think they might be going for the ore at this point. They're excited. They can use that ore to make new buckets. About 3/4 of their entire time and resources is going to be fighting fires. It's going to be constantly on the doorstep no matter what they do. And that is on both ends at this point, so they might want to think about expanding their population. They're going to lose a few to burning. I do have to say, they're doing a lot better than I thought they would. Once I saw how fast that fire was spreading, I got worried. But they dive into the fire, light themselves on fire, then jump in the ocean. The empires down here for some reason didn't survive, but this place has been absolutely perpetually on fire. These guys expanded for a second beyond the fire, but then the fire demons ate them, so they had to give up their outpost. But I'm pretty sure as long as they're reasonably advanced and can make some tools and weapons, they'll actually probably survive this. Though the leader of their army is stupid. He has very little intelligence, diplomacy, warfare, stewardship, loyalty, and fertility. I'd also like to take a moment to point out, this wasn't actually my idea. This came from the comments in one of my previous World Box videos, so thank you to everyone who gives me these wonderful fun ideas. Because what could be better than a world of endless suffering and burning? They jump out of the water, they run into the fire. They have to jump back in the water because they light themselves on fire again. Orange on this side is actually really starting to expand their empire. They've got like a 6 of the wheel on lockdown. And the fire is actually getting further away. They're actually getting ahead of it. But this was never supposed to be an easy place to survive. It was supposed to be an absolutely miserable place to survive. And I think we're done good at accomplishing that so far. The advanced civilizations actually do really good at fending off the fire for now. I don't know what's going to win long term, but they are able to keep it back at least for now to sort of thrive. Now, we know orcs are very tough and overpowered, and they can survive in really weird places, so if we throw a few orcs down in the middle of the fire zone, can they actually set up a thing and survive this? I think they're probably just going to burn alive, but I'm really curious to see. Yeah, that seemed like a short-lived empire. So nothing's going to be able to spawn and thrive up here, but if they push in from the outsides, they might be able to do it. Like, these guys are already moving into the ore zones. And they've got plenty of berry bushes, they've got boats, they've got everything they need. It's just that fire is forever encroaching their territory, so they would be really wise to fight that off. They have an army with all sorts of different traits, but no weapons or tools whatsoever. Here comes the savior of the world. He had a bucket of water. He's thrown it on the fire, and that fire is not stopping for anyone. You know, if they could have strategized just a little bit, they would be so much better off. These guys have actually pushed way up there too. They've actually put out the fire in the middle and pushed all the way up to here. They probably want that ore or land. These beautiful morons are actually doing a lot better than I thought they would. Their population is actually slowly increasing again. We finally found that balance where they found a spot where they can thrive and grow. We do continually get these sort of spontaneous explosions of massive fires though. I'm not really sure where those come from, but I'm very happy they exist. They are starting to get some stone swords, so they're going to be better to fight off the fire demons even though they explode in a ball of fire. But as more time goes on and they move into the ores, they'll get better tools and weapons. It's already been 160 years of perpetual burning. But here come the reinforcements, so they're going to have to kill the fire demons, then put the fires out, and then really push this back. They might have just lost a large part of their empire. Don't these guys know they've got to be... Are they fighting each other? The thoughts of existing in a box descended the citizens of Ohio's into madness. These guys might have gone insane on themselves, so they're destroying themselves, or their neighbors are attacking them. Okay, the Bucket Man is coming. They really just need an army of Bucket Men. That would solve like 99% of their entire problems. Okay, here we go. We got 3 Bucket Men coming to the rescue down below. They actually might have saved this house. Those fires are moving. Oh, those are people. They would be wise to get a handle on this. That fire's getting awfully close to their destroyed capital. See, just when you think they're winning over the fire pops up in a weird spot. It absolutely decimates them. But this whole world can't be just all suffering. We gotta give them some kind of safe haven. Should they feel like expanding their empire, there is now a tiny island in the center of it all, made of fertile soil. And there's a crab enjoying the sand at this current point in time. Well, they managed to get the fire pushed moderately back for now. They've got to focus on sort of rebuilding their internal empire, and then they can go fight the fire again. They literally just tried to expand into it. A blue box just appeared here, literally right here. They tried to expand into a world on fire. You know, if they had half a brain at all, they really wouldn't struggle with this. They just make really, really strange choices. The Orange Empire is also getting it pretty hard. They lost this whole section due to fire. And the lower section, not going so hot either right now. The world population has dropped again by 20%. But the fires at this point are a little more in like waves. So if they manage to kind of get a handle on these, then they could actually put all the fires out right now if they ran for it. Instead, they just want to keep expanding into land that's literally on fire. Why do they keep doing this? Every time there's a fire, they're like, yeah, we should probably build a village there. Really good idea. Good news, a blazing heat wave has swept across the land. That's sure to mean more fires popping up in weird places and probably just faster fire spreading. See, this is why wars are bad. If you're fighting other people, you don't notice the fire inside you. That fire is so deep in that empire, it's starting to tickle. For some reason, the king of this empire is up here playing in the fire. I don't really know what to make of them anymore. He does actually have regeneration, so he restores health over time. But he also just burned to death. But whenever we're feeling stressed, we just need to take a quick look at Crab Island. Look how much real estate they have suddenly. They should really be taking advantage of that. These guys lit a fire in the middle of their village. They're so hopeless. There's no way they're going to be able to survive this. And they're once again expanding their outpost into land that is currently fairly on fire. Not as bad as it has been, to be fair, so maybe they are getting better. Oh, they actually did it. They got up there and put the fire out. Look, we have miners. They're mining tools finally. This is going to make them so much better. Look at them being preemptive. He's carrying a bucket of water to the fire instead of letting the fire bring itself to them. Never mind, I think we have a heat wave going. Oh, we finally have archers. That's actually going to make all the difference in the world. I don't know what's happened to the Orange Empire, but I turn and look back and they're actually pretty on fire on either end. They're kind of getting complacent when it comes to firefighting. The Purple Village 2 must have started a fire right in the center of their thing. This might be the end of them, because that's really burning up a lot of their important stuff. And instead of doing something about it, they're just flailing around, waiting to die. The neighbors also came in to presumably fight the fire demons, or they're actually at war with each other. Yep, they're just straight up at war. They probably saw what fire they were and thought, great, that could be ours now. Yep, here comes the whole army. That's probably also going to get lit on fire pretty badly. So they've succeeded in taking over the neighbors, but they might have also just burned their army alive while doing it. So I don't know if that's a profit or a loss. On the other side of the empire, though, it's all peace. These guys are just happily mining gold and swimming in the ocean. Look at that. Though it's two empires now. High versus Great Soof. Orange versus Blue. In theory, at this rate, the humans will actually win over the fire, because their empires are slowly expanding, so the fire has less room to spread. I just got an achievement for whatever that was, finding something crippled. Pretty sure everyone in this world has some health problems. If the blazing heat and fire doesn't hurt the people, there's probably a lot of lung damage due to constant smoke. Considering this is just a perpetual life of this, you're fighting a fire, some fire demons come out, you kill them, they set everything on fire, you burn to death. This guy's got a legendary stone weapon, the Smort Sculptor. I think he's the captain of the army though, so they are trying their best to take over this area. The fire horses won that round. While that was happening, the whole bottom half of Orange's empire got destroyed by fire because they weren't paying attention. If they could just keep their archers alive for longer, they would do so much better. This guy's actually getting really strong. His partner is a toddler. He's literally 1 year old and he's out here fighting the fires. And we got another heat wave, so we're going to get some more spontaneous fires in places that are really disadvantageous. We're cruising along at a pretty good speed now. It is year 214, very soon to be 215. We are blazing through time, so we're going to see how these empires progress. Jumping ahead to year 228, and the population is still actually slowly growing. The orange, they're maintaining population but losing ground, but the blues are actually expanding slowly in either direction. Many horrifying years later, and they're slowly expanding their empires. They got the fire somewhat under control, but they always do until they don't. Mostly because they get a heat wave every quarter of a year and the years are going by in a couple seconds. The biggest problem is they just can't help but throw themselves into the fire. They see a fire, they just jump themselves right in. And they're not taking advantage. Look at all this free real estate. They can move right into that worry-free. The fire's burning to the left for once. My poor crabs are getting lonely. I can't believe nobody wants this space. Look at this guy's stuff. I got an achievement just for clicking on him. He's got a whole bunch of legendary stuff. He's got 49 kills. He might be the chosen one. He can even carry buckets of water. Oh, the fires are doomed. Well, instead of putting his time to good use, he's just wandering around the village and picking berries. So we'll leave him to that for a while. But as long as the blue team has him, they've got a good chance of defeating the fire. Every time I think things are going okay, I turn around and then fire has wiped out half of an entire empire. So I think at this point we can actually call it a draw. The fire gains a little ground, then the people do, then the fire takes it back. It's just an eternal battle of just pure suffering and torment within the fire. But we're going to actually remove them from the Age of Sun now. They're going back to the Age of Hope. It's a little bit less hot, so trees and stuff can actually grow again. Fires shouldn't burn quite so frequently. Actually, they all went out up top. There's still a lot of very flammable creatures around and obviously a lot of very flammable trees. But they very quickly put all of the fires out. There's still a lot of creatures that make fires, but the fire won't spread nearly as badly as it did before. So without the world being an entire tinderbox, they're actually able to defeat the fiery creatures and put out the fires right away. And quickly in 100 years, they've tripled the population. But of course, they start fighting each other as soon as the population hits about 800. We can't have them fighting each other. They need to be fighting fire, so we're going back to the fire times. So already we see the problem starting. There's a little fire zone popped up in between their empires, so they're not going to put that out quickly. This is going to be the new danger zone. Pretty sure I just heard a meteorite land, which decimated the capital of whatever this is. Also, meteors spread a little bit of fire, so they might want to get on that. Yeah, they're actually putting it out pretty promptly. They're a pretty organized, efficient empire. They did have 100 years to thrive, so they better have some technology by now. This definitely isn't the same hero we had before, but he might have actually taken over his stuff. I don't know where he got this stuff. He only has 2 kills so far. He's also just hanging out in the middle. Yeah, okay. Blue has officially won. So now we need to see their firefighting skills really put to the test. I'm going to sprinkle some of these like every o'clock all the way around here. 1, 2, 3, all through 12 o'clock. And see if they're able to put out all the fires or they all burn alive. Yep, they actually put out the fires within their borders right away. The only ones they didn't touch were the ones in this little spot that they seem to ignore. But that's what happens when you create a world of perpetual burning.